Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast presented by Zwift for the Jebel Jais recap, one of the unique hockey stick stages in cycling. It's an easy stage. They'll all do 100 watts in the wheels, no climbs before, for 150 Ks as they go out to Jebel Jais. 20 Ks, 5.6% steady as it comes. It's largely in one direction this climb, and then with 1500 meters, they turn around and the wind direction will change there. So I think Lutsenko got killed by a headwind on this the other year. Jonas Vingegaard's won on this finish, clutching his heart. Big win for him. Who else has won? Oh, Pog has won, of course. Last year in a group sprint where there were some attacks. To remind you of the GC situation before the stage, it was Plapp in GC, not by positions, Benji, not by milliseconds.
Yes, correct. It was not by milliseconds. We dove into the rules, and apparently, milliseconds only counts if there was an individual time trial, not when it comes to a
Jeez.
team time trial. So,
Wow.
in this case, it was based on the standings of the previous stages summed up to each other, except for the team time trial, because that position didn't count in that math. And as a consequence, Plapp was higher in stage one, seventh, I think, and then Remco was eighth on stage one, and therefore Plapp was in the lead going into stage three. So some mad math behind the scenes, but hey, we had our Plappy in the lead, and the Plappster was going to start in the red jersey today. And well, today, let's talk about the break for like 10 seconds. There was a break, and then there was no break on the climb. Lascano was the last rider that was left over from that break. Some Bardiani riders were in there, and someone else, I think Edward Plancard or another Plancard. I think it's Edward this time around. That's a big family, if it's even related to the other
It's a big
Plancard
cycling
family.
family, isn't it?
The Belgians would know what I'm talking about because there's so many Plancards out there. But anyway, I'll throw it back to you because a lot of these riders are training on Zwift, right?
They are, and one of them would be Tarling. I said I expected big things of him today on Ineos. He uses Zwift, or Ineos use Zwift, and he was good on Jebel Jais. This is the sort of climb that people don't have in their backyard. It's a really good sort of effort, 5%, a long effort. And instead of having to get two flights from Sydney and then probably an awkward bus transfer, sit in a hostel, and then my bike probably break, you can just get the Zwift hub and do this climb in the comfort of your own home. No muss, no fuss, no traffic lights. The best priced trainer, direct drive trainer on the market. Jump into Zwift on the Zwift hub. Check out the link down below. You won't be disappointed. Easy to set up, no sweat setup, and it'll unlock all these sort of climbs and worlds on Zwift with a full immersion feel that you might not be able to get on the road in wherever you live. Don't be limited by where you live. Anyway, back to Jebel Jais, Benji. Who needed to do something today?
Yeah.
Javine abandoned before the stage. He had a knee issue, according to the UAE press release. I'm not sure if he'll still do Catalunya, which is in about a month, I think, 20th of March. I'm going back to Andorra in a week, and then I'll be going back for that. So he abandoned. Who needed something out of this stage? Because Quickstep already got a stage, and Remco's knocking on the door for GC, but who else?
So if we look at the GC, we see Quickstep at Evenepoel, we see Ineos with Plapp in there, and we see Bahrain with Bilbao in there. And all three of those riders might be pretty happy with the situation of just defending and making sure that Adam Yates doesn't come any closer. So UAE is the team that I was expecting to really put the hammer down, go hard on this, maybe try and go for attacks left and right towards the end if they don't see it possible to get away with Adam Yates, because this is not the most selective climb, Jebel Jais. We were expecting a bit of a group sprint with the GC riders at the top of this climb yesterday. And when it comes to UAE, they have multiple riders to do stuff for a stage win, but only really one rider where I see the opportunity of winning GC. But he lost so much time in stage one. Adam Yates, he's on a minute 20, 25 or something after the team time trial, is my pure guess. So that's already a long while. And I said yesterday, I don't believe in Adam Yates winning GC in this race anymore. And he had to do something today to get closer to change my mind on that. And we didn't necessarily see UAE take over at the bottom of Jebel Jais, right? Because I felt like we saw, first of all, the break getting caught at the bottom of Jais, like I mentioned. And it was a combination of Melir for Quickstep, riding a bit of
Yeah,
tempo at the front.
Melir.
But let's be honest about it.
Nah, it's
He's not gonna,
fast.
oh, he's gonna drop Adam Yates.
Maybe Adam Yates. Nah, he won't drop him. No one really took full control at the start. Bora were just sort of there. They had Gamper and Mullen and Zwiehoff and Buchmann. Quickstep don't have their Giro team here. They brought neither a lead out nor any climbing domestiques except for Vavaka. Schmid's more of a versatile rider. There's no Van Wilder, Masnada, Fiat is what I mean, or Maori for their premium climbing domestiques, which people say they don't have or don't exist on the team. They do have some. The Ineos really were the team that tried to control this climb. And I would say UAE in spurts tried to do things on this climb. What their overall, like, I'm trying to deduce what their plan was, Benji, because it was Bjerg coming up, pacing really hard. This is on 5%, by the way. Like, the draft is huge. They're going 30 kilometers an hour, pacing really hard for a bit, and then they'd stop, and then no one else would pace. And then at 11Ks, Soler attacked. At 11Ks from a group of 50. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, but if you look at those attacks as well, like if Bjerg starts pacing and either he paces hard to actually get the attack going, or the riders behind notice that they don't need to actually follow UAE's move, because if Yates is not in the wheel of Bjerg, let him ride off to victory because he's not dangerous for GC anyway. So a team like Ineos and Quickstep shouldn't care about Bjerg going up the road. And it felt like they were still responding with Ineos and Bora quite vividly to the moves of UAE. Whether it was Bjerg or Soler later on was closed pretty quickly by the likes of Gumper and Tarling and so forth. Quickstep seemed to be more of the, let's calm down, guys, and leave those attackers on a bit of a gap while they came back to the peloton in that sense. But I agree, what is the point of making those moves with UAE? Because if you pace hard before you launch with Soler at 11 kilometers to go, and Soler gets closed down instantly by those two riders, which are, I think it was Gumper and Tarling, and it takes 10 seconds for them to be back in the peloton, and then the UAE train is on like third row in the peloton suddenly and doesn't keep up the tempo. You're not making this race hard for the possibility of GC. You're at this point only trying to get away with someone for a stage win, is what I see, right? Because you're not going to get anything out of this.
But I think that's what they should be going for. What if they're not going to win GC?
Yeah.
Unless Yates goes completely crazy on her feet. Well, the next best thing is winning a stage. So he might win on her feet, but 2 stages is better than none. And currently they're sitting at no one on the podium, no stage result. And so...
Yeah, but why at 14K? Why at 11K?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what I don't get.
We know the pattern of this climb. You pace, you keep it together, and then you hope Remco burns his domestiques, and Ineos have no domestiques, and then you attack with Soler and McNulty, who are on like 3 minutes, and Remco's like, meh, whatever. And he doesn't react to them like Jonas won. Like, that's how you win the stage. And then Yates can sit in the wheels because he won't be allowed to go. He can try from the sprint. Or you line it out and give him a lead out, because he has come second to Pog on this stage before. He's done well on this finish too. Yates isn't slow. But yeah, they didn't really have a plan from what I could see. Quickstep, as you said, were keeping it tranquilo. They didn't have the horses to really do much else. Seri had a flat as well that took him out of action, and then he drafted a car literally at 45 kph past everyone that was dropped back to the bunch. It was like was it an organizer car or a Quickstep car? But I can't tell because they're all in the same Toyota Land Cruiser, I think.
Yeah, because like the teams don't actually get their team cars from the European countries and American countries where they got them stacked, probably in Europe. They don't get them over to the UAE to have them in races. So the organization like gives like unbranded cars to the teams with like in a like the most basic font. It says like Jumbo Visma UAE Team Emirates. So if you're a rider, it must be really difficult to find your bloody car in the convoy based on what they look like, in my opinion.
True.
But I don't know if it was a Quickstep car or not. I couldn't see the side where it said Quickstep or not. But it wouldn't shock me if it was the quick step car, to be honest. But I also don't really mind because at least it gave us some tension on whether the move that was upcoming would go anywhere. Because while Quickstep had City back at the front and so forth, I feel like Vervaeke was still there, Schmidt was still there, Tarling was doing really well for Ineos in this race. I think he's 80 kilos, so not the easiest. But then again, this climb is not the
Ganna's done well here
10%
before.
sections of Jebel Hafid. Agreed. Ganna style. Now, a move came from Movistar, and I'll let you talk about it. It was a duo attack.
This is a big tick in the box for Tug Buddies world round. Torres, the track guy, launching Ina Rubio, big weight difference, and that's what he like. Rubio probably can't hit 1,000 watts. I doubt it. And so for him to get separation from the group is going to be really difficult, and 35, 40 kilometers an hour uphill. And to have that guy break the wind and drag him away, which I kind of thought Bjerg could have fulfilled that role for a McNulty or a Soler. He kept doing it without anyone in his wheel. I didn't get it. But Torres did that for Rubio. I thought, nice try, Movistar. Like, you're trying to do something. Like, good on you. But I got to be honest, in the moment, I didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
This climb is so long. The gradient is so shallow. The group was so big. There were so many riders and teams without a stage win here, with riders who are good climbers, like DSM, like Jumbo Visma, who are not close on GC, with multiple climbers who can attack or pull, like Leknesson for Van Herke, like Koos for Gloag, or just attack or whatever, that I thought he's going to get pulled back. This is like 8Ks to go. No way he goes clear. Next minute, Tarling's on the front, not because Ineos don't really want to go for the stage. They don't care. They're trying to just keep...
Buddy.
Who else is pacing?
Zoccarato erasure.
Oh,
Come
sorry, yeah. Bardiani erasure.
The guy in the green jersey. Well, not the green jersey, but a green jersey from Bardiani. Zoccarato just attacked and humbled on like 30 seconds. But I'll let you continue.
But that's how we knew they were going slow.
Yeah.
Because no offense to Zoccarato, but we haven't mentioned him on the pod before, I don't think, to date. He was able to hang at 30 seconds from the big group behind. So no one really took control of bringing Rubio back. He's on 50 seconds going up to a minute with 5Ks to go, and it's done. He's got a tailwind. There's, yes, a bit of headwind, I think, in the final 1,500 meters, but he's a good climber. I know it is 5%, but some of the kilometers are 7%, 6.5%. The last one's not as steep. And just no one took control of either attacking across to... Like, no one even tried to attack across to him. Now, I don't want to be... Maybe I was guilty of it when we first started the pod, when I was like, just attack. And Pro's like, well, actually, it's a bit harder than you think to do that. In this case, I feel like Leknesund, or I don't want to pick on him again, but there were teams that could have tried something a bit different.
Firmly agree. I think the thing I want to note is that I think it's torture watching this, as in like in the Peloton, seeing so many teams that are not responding and so forth. And then Quickstep is a team that goes to the front and keeps on pacing. Ineos had some riders and did some work there as well, but I feel like Quickstep took the upper hand there with Seri pacing quite a long time, perhaps a bit too long, because he was really out of energy the last few minutes of his effort. And then Vervaeke didn't take over. I think it was Schmidt instantly, after that, who took up that role quite for a long time and was the one that really took up the last like 3 to 1 kilometer, I would say, to 500 meters before the end probably, but we saw Rubio in the final portion, so we didn't really see the portion from 1K to 500 meters in the Peloton. But Schmidt was done for with 1.1K to go, and the gap had actually gone down from like a minute to 35 seconds, and I'm like, with 35 seconds, with 1.5 kilometers to go, if there's more domestiques, this can be taken back. If Vervaeke is on point, if Sari doesn't have the puncture, then they might be able to bring this back with a proper lead out. But that's not the case here because they don't have those riders and no other riders are pulling it. But then again, should Quickstep even remotely have bothered actually trying to close it down? Shouldn't they just be fine with Rubio taking the stage like 50 seconds ahead? I'm fine with him being 30 seconds behind Remco in GC. And I'm fine with the fact that Yates is still behind and then Remco can have a sprint at the end. Did they even go too far in trying to take the stage, or do you applaud them for trying to take the stage and make the stage a bit interesting?
Oh, I think they were more like they've got to make the stage hard enough so it's actually Remco sprinting at the end of a climbing
Okay.
effort. You can't have him
Yeah.
sprinting it from a group of 50 or 40. So, no, I've got no issue with what Quickstep really did. They did the best with the resources they could. Schmidt and Seri, they were fully gassed climbing. And you also don't want to have Remco fielding attacks with 3Ks to go himself. That just gets into an unnecessarily messy situation. But yeah, Rubio wins the stage. Big congratulations to Movistar. It's a like they couldn't have planned it better. They hit at the right moment with no strong climbing domestiques on the front. They got Rubio an immediate gap with Torres, and he must be in good shape. Like I don't know the climbing estimations yet, but he's a small guy. He must have been in good shape, even if they were dilly dallying a bit in the group behind. To hold them off for that length of time on a drafting climb is really impressive, taking his first win, let alone his first World Tour win. He was in that break with Thomas de Gent back in the day when de Gent gifted Ghana the Giro stage win. But yeah, Movistar, EF, DSM are all looking much better than they did. Maybe
Yeah.
it's the recency bias, but definitely EF. That's facts. They're looking better than they did this time last year. Um, so yeah, congrats to them and Movistar. They had a plan, they executed, Benji.
Yep, I agree with that. And there's just the aspect that it's still early season. We can talk about the fact that we haven't gone to the races that an Alpecin is speaking for. For example, they haven't sent Phillips into this race. They're focusing on the classics with him and Van der Poel, for example. So that team is the only team I think without victories at the moment in World Tour. I think all the other teams have been lined up because I recall Kung winning. So Groupama's out there. Raj Desert has won with Paris-Pentre. We had Arkea win with Vauquelin. So every World Tour team except Alpecin has won a race so far, and Jumbo Visma as well hasn't really hit their top yet because their riders still haven't really gone to the races that they need to go to their top leaders. So maybe that's also an aspect that certain bigger teams are focusing on the races that are later in the calendar, and therefore the riders of teams that are smaller can also focus and take grabs in early races. And maybe that's a tactic by those teams to try and get something in the early stages where possible. And well, it's definitely paying off. That's for certain. Now, on this specific stage, I do think that Rubio had a bit of luck with the dynamic in the peloton, but hey, they went for it and they got the victory. So there's no complaining about Movistar here. Torres with a performance that I didn't expect him to see. The last time I think I saw Torres was that stage in the Giro that Campenarts won, where he was like dropping on one of the last hills or something. Campenarts versus Riesebeek, that sprint. Vaguely remember
Oh
that?
yeah, that Giro was a bit tough. Some of those stages. Um, was that lockdown? Well, after that.
Oh, I think the year after that. But talking about stages, how about we get a small discussion going after we run through GC about the parkour of like UAE Tour. But first of all, what's the GC looking
Well,
like
Rem,
at the moment here?
well, Remco destroyed everyone in the sprint in the end. So if he did have it brought back by Quickstep, he would have won this stage easily. One would think. Maybe people didn't try in the sprint because it was won by Rubio. I don't think so. There were bonus seconds up for grabs. Yates came second in that group sprint and then stopped trying and nearly lost 4 bonus seconds by not pedaling through the line, which was bizarre. Lushenko fourth, Plapp fifth, and here's where it gets a bit weird for me. Like in terms of guys that were obviously strong enough to sprint but didn't pull and didn't try and attack or do anything else on the climb. Van Herke sixth, DSM, Gloag seventh, Jumbo, then Leknesund eighth, DSM, Koos ninth, Jumbo. So 4 spots for 2 teams. Then Zwiehoff and Buchmann are on the same time on 10th and 13th, as well as Tarame and Menkes is not their climb. I'm not going to criticize them. They tried it last year and it didn't work. So, just a few teams might have tried something differently, but at the end of the day, it is the Jebel Jais finish. But if you're not going to get anything out of GC here, may as well try something. Stefan de Bod, though, on 12th. I've been saying for years he's next Froome. He's where Froome was, and he's looking good at EF. So who knows? Some of the
Who?
curious results, though. Pun?
Who did you say?
Stefan de Bod. Same weight,
Oh,
same height, same continent. and same age, same Palmares as Barlow World Froome, and same TT guy.
Well, he
If anyone
hasn't
can do it,
crashed in that
JV
World
can.
Championships yet.
True,
Didn't
we need to
Froome
see him
like have a
crash in a
crash at the
TT
start of a
bike.
time trial?
I think that was like the B World Champs. Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
Some of the curious results though was Tullet lost 7 minutes, so he got dropped by Schmidt, and then obviously just stopped riding completely, which I was a bit surprised by. Hessman from Jumbo dropped. I thought he might make it a bit further because of his what's in Tour de l'Avenir. Try to look through anyone else. Fulsang also got dropped, which was, not a great sign, but well, actually, it's not great. They need the points, Israel, I think, at races like this. But yeah,
Yeah.
GC, Remco goes into the lead, Benji, which is a big thing because her feet's not that hard. And
What?
Hog, it's not Motorola.
No,
Draft
but it should be
matters.
hard enough for difference. I
Yates
expect the
couldn't drop
difference
Hog.
between the two there. Yeah,
You
but
think Yates will drop Remco?
I think he will. I think Adam Yates wins on Jebel Hafid.
He better. But how much
He
of a
must at
gap?
this point. I don't know. No clue. I don't think it will be a minute 03 like it was in 2019, 2020, whatever he was at Bike Exchange back in the day, or Mitchelton, or whatever that team was called back in the day, Green Edge Cycling. Anyway, that's talking about the parkour for a second. Like, Jebel Jais is a climb that is almost never selective. And we see that in all the years in the past that it's really not a selective climb. Is it bad to have a climb like that in the race? Because this were a really bad stage. And the last few years, it has been an overhyped stage throughout.
Who
Or is
hypes
it
it?
because we are...
Who hypes Jebel Jais? Come on.
We
Who
might.
are these
Do we?
people doing it? Of
Are we
course.
doing it or not?
I love this stage because it's so weird. Like, I like weird stages, weird results. Like Ina Rubio getting a tug buddy to win with like a group of 50 not chasing behind, not in a Grand Tour. Completely bizarre. Like, completely weird stage. I
Would it
like it.
kill
You
the
got to grind
race?
these, Benji.
Would it kill the race if there was two stages of Jebel Hafid like a few years ago? Would that make the GC too early decided?
That's what happened in 2020, I think. Yates destroyed Poggi on first Hafid, and then
Yeah.
Pogacar won the sprint on second Hafid, but didn't take enough time, and Yates won GC. I would like the parkour to be the same with one less sprint and one Hatterdam. Because Caleb can do well on Hatterdam, and Bennett, I think, has even done okay on Hatterdam. So why is Hatterdam not in? Bring back Hatterdam, I say. They're just a
I
punchy
think that's a
effort to
good
mix
take.
it up.
I think that's a good take. And I also heard from our homeboy Luke that the road is technically wide enough on Jebel Hafid that you can split it up in two, so you can go up and down the same road, but that might require a lot of barriers, no, for the entire climb. But it would be funny. You can afford that. Come on. Like, they've got the treasure chest for a few barriers, okay? Get us up and down Jebel Hafid 3 times in a stage.
Nah, because then people won't go. They got to make this easy for people to go. They can't make it too hard. But yeah, Evenepoel leading GC. I think he's going to win GC easily. He looks completely in control. I'd actually almost be surprised at this point if Yates drops him, because UAE haven't looked that good this week or cohesive. And Evenepoel looks really, really good. So he just has to follow Yates. And I think the draft matters quite a bit. And Plapp has to now attack Remco and take bonus seconds or really gap him. So that's going to be an uphill battle, quite literally, for him on Jebel Hafid. Tomorrow's stage is the Dubai Harbour Sprint. So just tune in for the last 10Ks, probably. I don't think there's typically crosswinds here, but don't hold me to that. Maybe check your local Dubai weather forecast. They go around the Palm Jumeirah, like back and forth. I think Benji has a couple of flats there. And then, there's a big right-hand turn at 700 meters for a finish. Who you got?
I think I'm going to go with... The thing about an actual proper sprint, if it comes down to a proper sprint without echelons happening throughout the stage, I think they go into the desert for one moment in the stage, so there's possibility there. But Worse for Quickstep, a proper sprint. I think it's worse for
Yeah,
Cavendish and for Ewan.
I think it's worse for Quickstep. I think Burt is perfect in that size group after hard cross wins.
Sam Welsford wins.
Not bad. Not bad shout. Who's his launcher?
I've got
They got
absolutely no clue, so I'm...
someone crashed
Edmondson is
today from
here?
DSM. I think they got a nice train. Someone did crash from DSM, but I
Oh, yeah.
worry
Nunt
about who his
Andersen.
last man
Tobias.
is. Yeah.
Tobias Andersen is.
I'm going to go with Cav. Let's go Cav.
Okay.
I think he's looking good. I think he's looking sharp. Maybe, yeah, I hope Cav wins. I think he won here last year. Let's go Cav. Well, I actually don't care, but he can win. Someone else can win as long as it's a good sprint. This is the first
Mate,
like proper sprint
it's
we'll
good
have.
for your highlight video if Cav wins.
True, true. Like, we can't be having, I don't know, Ana Rubio, Ana Rubio leading out Albert Torres with the finesse
Well,
attacks. If
if Rubio wins the sprint tomorrow, then it's going to be a banger of a video.
he wins it, we shut it down. Well, I'm sorry, this race no longer merits coverage. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look. Alpecin is weird, isn't it? Like you said, Benji. Like, Bauhaus, it's not that technical. I don't know. Should be a big sprint. I'm looking forward to it. Benji's nonplussed. Benji's out on UAE Tour. I'm still trying to hold the fort. I will hype up Jebel Chase next year. I'll do the same thing again. But that's all from us today. We'll see you at the recap tomorrow. Thanks to Zwift as always. Till then, ciao.